Matheus Cunha transfer talks scheduled by the club of Arsenal. Welcome to the Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rokani David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And we're here to bring you the latest news and information about the club known as Arsenal and Matheus Cunha. The pursuit for Matheus Cunha really continues. Remember, in the January transfer window, Arsenal had agreed personal terms around January, right? Around December before it entered January in the winter transfer window, and it was all deal accepted by the side known as Matheus Cunha. But when Arsenal let him down, the player went ahead to renew his contract that had a release clause of £62.5 million. And by then, Arsenal would have gone ahead to get Matheus Cunha for like £40 million because his contract was obviously going to be running down. But because Arsenal was really having a new sporting director and they knew to it that Ed was not going to be the sporting director for the club of Arsenal, they had to obviously halt the plans for Arsenal to bring in any player during the winter transfer window, because they knew to it that what if they brought in a player and the new sporting director doesn't like him and really tasks the board that please get me another player. So this time around, however much Arsenal said or acted like that, looks like Andre Bartha is one of those that is interested in obviously getting in Matheus Cunha. How many likes on this video? Let's see, close to 200 likes on this video. Transfer news in high gear in here onto the Rokani Media Football. Matheus Cunha's representatives have scheduled meetings with both Arsenal and Newcastle, although he still favors a move to Manchester United. So the battle is on for Matheus Cunha. I tell you, it's really on. Well, the battle for Matheus Cunha to join or to leave, the transfer battle for Matheus Cunha is still on. And guess what? Representatives of Matheus Cunha have scheduled meetings with Arsenal and Newcastle, although he favors Manchester United. Now, there is even Nottingham Forest into the picture, but the problem of Nottingham Forest is that they've not gone ahead to obviously see themselves really hit the Champions League. You never know, if they qualify, then they can obviously join the conversation. But Arsenal holding conversations with Matheus Cunha. I think Cunha doesn't trust Arsenal anymore. And you know what pissed off Matheus Cunha during the January transfer window? Arsenal, first and foremost, went ahead to agree personal terms with Martin Zubimendi. And Arsenal wanted to bring in Martin Zubimendi if at all Real Sociedad could allow him to really sign for them in January. And the player was like, I cannot really join you. I'll join you after. I think Real Sociedad said no. You understand? And it was like, you are willing to pay close to £50 million, £10 million than the amount of money that Wolverhampton Wanderers wants for me to really get in a player like that, and you're not willing to go north of the £40 million. That first pissed him off. Then he relaxed and was like, maybe they are coming for me after that. Guess what went ahead to happen? Arsenal found themselves in a position of really annoying Matheus Cunha again by making a bid of the exact amount of money that Wolverhampton Wanderers wanted for him, or from him, for a player known as Ollie Watkins. At first, it was rumored that they made a bid of £60 million. Though later, we got to know that it was a bid of £40 million. And especially that bid of £40 million would obviously see Matheus Cunha leave the side of Wolverhampton Wanderers. But Arsenal was like, we are not really doing the needful. Now, his representatives are going to be meeting Arsenal, and huge questions are really going to be tabled onto the side of Arsenal. That you really let us down last season. How should we really come in and really trust you? So we anticipate that Andre Bartha will obviously have the excuse that please, I have to obviously come in through and really do the needful. And one will ask that Cunha is a centre forward. Is it all about Cunha and not any other centre forward? I would like to let you know that Arsenal and Victor Gyökeres, the deal is happening. That is it. The deal is happening for Matheus Cunha and the club, Gyökeres and Arsenal. The deal is really ongoing and progressing on well. And even if they don't really get another forward, they can really do the needful and really sign another one. But for Matheus Cunha, he comes in through as a multi-purposeful player. He can play as a left forward, he can play as a right forward, he can play as a number 10, that is behind the number 9, and he can also lead the line. I told you that this season, what Arsenal has to venture a lot into, signing 90% of their players this summer when they are really good in as far as playing more than one position is really concerned. Because if Arsenal really had players that can really play in multiple positions, I think they would have gone ahead to be still competing in the Champions League or in the Champions League finale and competing in the Premier League. And maybe they would have gone ahead to be champions. So I think all players that we're looking at are really versatile players, apart from a player known as Victor Gyökeres. And I think it is in the same spirit that Mikel Arteta had prioritized for Arsenal to go in and bring in Alexander Isak, because for Alexander Isak, you know to it that he can play behind the striker, he can play as a left forward and right forward in any system. So Andrea Bartha has to explain the entourage of Matheus Cunha and convince them on what he really has on the table to bring them to where they want to be. So we wait and see how that pans out for Matheus Cunha. But it's a very huge turning point for the club of Arsenal in their transfers, and they might now be inward looking in the Premier League, not outward looking in the Premier League as far as making signings is concerned. Arsenal might be willing to obviously see themselves sign a player, almost of the players from the Premier League, and that's why you've gone ahead to see that they've been linked to that defender of Bournemouth that went ahead to obviously score that goal that really kept Arsenal out of the reach for the win. You remember that very well. And they're also interested they're really looking whether they can sign Delap. The other one is none other than Isak, Bruno Guimaraes, and very many others. You know, Arsenal is really waiting to bring in more and more players to do the job at their club. So that's exactly what you're really having in here onto the Rokani Media Football about Matheus Cunha. But Arsenal has to compete with Manchester United, and we all know to it that Matheus Cunha has already given his yes to the club of Manchester United, and United is really doing the needful to get this deal done and dusted. But I think they are like, let's first play the UEFA Europa League and see whether we really get that trophy and get to the Champions League and see how we really get along. But Arsenal coming in through really indicates two things. First and foremost, they've seen to it that Man United is really delaying. You understand? United is delaying to obviously convince this player to sign for them. To really trigger the release clause. And Arsenal has shown us that with Zubimendi, they've done it, and they've gone ahead to obviously alert Real Sociedad that we are gonna trigger the release clause. And for Matheus Cunha, they know to it that if a player is really having a release clause, you don't need to talk to the club. You just need to convince them. He will obviously give you a go, and when he gives you his go, you'll obviously go ahead and really sign. And Arsenal has really money, because as I told you, that over much they've gone ahead to spend like £52 million onto the deal of Zubimendi, they still have like £150 million to spend. Getting in a player known as Matheus Cunha will obviously give Arsenal a very really gonna be the same for Matheus Cunha, and if at all he joins Arsenal, he'll be a very deadly player. And for Man United, on the second hint on what this meeting scheduled means, that Manchester United is not really closing in on this player anymore. All else, the agent is like, let me obviously throw in Newcastle and Arsenal, Nottingham, and United will react, instantly. Because if United reacts instantly, that means he'll obviously get the money, because they've already gone ahead to agree personal terms, and the player is willing to play for the club of Manchester United. So that's what we had in here onto the Rokani Media Football. But Newcastle is in the queue, meaning that they are preparing for the days of Isak away from Newcastle, because they know to it that it's going to be hard for them to keep Alexander Isak into the mix. So your reactions to new Cunha transfer talks to Arsenal scheduled are welcome in the comment section below. What do you think about Arsenal going in for Matheus Cunha? Who will win the battle? Is it Manchester United Arsenal, Newcastle, all Nottingham Forest. Good night to those going to bed. Rokani David remains my name, and we're here to say to you that we bring you more and more and more and more and more of what you guys call content in here onto our channel. And bye bye, and don't forget to subscribe because we want to hit 30,000 subscribers. Came in late today, but I was like, I need to serve you with content that will obviously give you a vibe that you'll never forget about this. We go so. Bye bye. 5 finger salute.